This is John Balog, and I'm doing the construction of the Williamsburg Bridge. The construction of the quote-unquote East River Bridge, the second across the East River, began in 1896. The new bridge was to be built north of the Grand Street Ferry, terminating the Delancey and Clinton Streets on the Manhattan side, and at the South 5th Street and Driggs Avenue on the Brooklyn side. Lafert L. Buck was the chief engineer, Henry Hornbostel was the architect, and Holton D. Robinson was the assistant engineer. Engineers first constructed caissons on either side to support the future bridge. The caisson on the Manhattan side was completed in May 1897, upon which time the caisson on the Brooklyn side was launched. The caissons were manufactured in a shipyard in Williamsburg. In January 1898, Mayor Robert Anderson Van Wyck removed the members of the East River Bridge Commission due to charges of extravagance. A commission of 6 people appointed by the state was proceeded, but the bill was rejected. As part of the Williamsburg Bridge's construction, the section of Delancey Street between the bridge's western and the end of the Bowery was widened. The portion of Spring Street between the Bowery and Lafayette Street was also expanded. This was the third plan for the bridge's western approaches that was publicly announced. Public opposition had caused the cancellation of previous proposals, which included a wide street extending from the end of the bridge to either Cooper Square or the intersection of Houston Street and 2nd Avenue. To accommodate the bridge's approaches, 600 houses were demolished in total, including 330 on the Manhattan side and 270 on the Brooklyn side. The bridge's supporting wires were ready to be installed on February 1901. The first temporary wires between the East River Bridge's 2 towers were strung on April 9, 1901. They were to be replaced with permanent, thicker main cables later on both sides of the bridge's deck. The main cables were each 47.6 centimeters thick and made up of 7,696 smaller cables twisted together. These cables had been fully strung up on April 16th. Work on the bridge's pedestrian deck had begun soon after that. The pedestrian path on the East River Bridge was completed in June 1901. Afterward, the construction progressed at a fast pace owing to the ease of manufacturing the steel. Ornamental lights were also placed on the bridge. The East River Bridge was renamed Williamsburg Bridge after its Brooklyn terminus in 1902. There were several deaths during the construction, though. They included the worker who fell from the Manhattan approach in 1900 in May, the main steel worker engineer who fell from the Brooklyn approach in September 1900, and the foreman who drowned in March 1902. Additionally, a fire occurred on the Brooklyn side's tower in November 1902, which nearly severed the bridge's cables. The bridge opened on December 19, 1903 at a cost of $24,200,000. At the time it was constructed, the Williamsburg Bridge set the record for the longest suspension bridge span in the world. The record stood until 1924 when the Bear Mountain Bridge was completed.